point of the show. This is going to be a good one for you, Maui, because it's spicy. This is why I told you, notice I'm putting in the ugly category, I told you that despite everyone else getting hyped when electroNic got announced for VP, I was a bit scared because I was thinking to myself, how do they make this work though? Bro, that interview headline, I went and read the interview on HLTV with Jame. Oh, I hate it so much, right? They haven't just signed electroNic to the team like we all hope, you know, to be electroNic and therefore put them over the top and win all the major. Apparently, they're really considering that apparently it's not working, electroNic and Jame, and they're considering making electroNic the IGL. Oh, haven't we done this? Please, I feel like I've already done this. I've done it in Navi, I did it in Cloud9, and also, I'm just going to put this out there, guys. I saw what happened to my boy Happy when he was no longer the IGL. Bro, if you think Jame is fucking saving and being selfish now, what are you going to do when he's not the IGL? What are you going to do when he's just baiting? And then also, electroNic's the IGL of this. This has, like, I know they haven't said it's happened yet, but the fact that they keep teasing it, and if you notice, they even teased it when he joined that this was plausible. Like, this really worries me, and I'll just put this out there. I don't know what is going on in the Russian-speaking world of Counter-Strike, but why are you all so in love with electroNic being an IGL? All of you seem to think it's just like a slam dunk, like it's the most obvious God tier. I don't get it, because to me, he's so, like the conversation we had earlier about God tier riflers, this guy's so good. By the way, he might be one of the few riflers who came back after being IGL, still really good. Why would you risk that? Like that, if there's one move I'm not considering in this team, Maui, it's fucking electroNic to IGL. So I'll put it in ugly, because I'm not saying it can't work, but what? Why is this really the news every VP fan wanted to wake up to? Like, we might even just make me not the IGL. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing in this squad now? Thoughts? What do you think, Mantu? Hit me with it. Come on, you're an AWPer.
Yeah, I mean, I have two problems with the whole thing. First of all, like you said, with electroNic, they want him to be an IGL. That's number one. Like we all, like you said, want electroNic to be the electroNic which was in Navi, right?
Yeah.
It was electroNic simple, right? Both of them just going. He was an insane rifler. And Jame, like you said, I really don't think he can be that kind of AWPer which we want him to, or he wants to be, right? Especially in CS2. It's of course he has the good stats right now, right? But like the baiting and everything like that, I feel like when he's not IGL anymore, it's just gonna go through the roof even more. So with them, like the whole VPs, like playing against them was always super, super hard, right? The style and everything. But I don't think they can, like looking at the roster, I don't think looking at it, they can achieve anything. Like, sure, which they have with semifinals, right? Getting like quarterfinals, finals, or whatever, they can do that. But in order to win those events, I just don't see it. Especially now with the move they want to do with electroNic and IGL, it's just all over the place. I feel like that's just not the correct move. I feel like.
Come on, Maui.
I feel like they just
ground here.
Yeah, they're reacting too quickly to a string of not excellent results. I mean, it does look like there is improvement. You know, Pro League, they had some hiccups there. I think they lost to Complexity, for example, which is fine, by the way. Let's just remind people that's okay. Probably not for the spending, but it's like Complexity's all right. And then at the spring finals, they got top 4. And then I see this, and I'm like, you're trending in the right direction, but one thing that I do have to bring up is that when I think of electroNic versus Jame, and I think of the similarities in their systems, I did this on stream actually yesterday. I made a Venn diagram of like what are hallmarks of like the Jame system, what are the hallmarks of the Blade electronic system back in 2021 or 22, and there's not a lot of similarities. Like they other than just kind of like bleeding the clock, I guess.
Sure.
Like that's like every team does that.
Sure.
But if you really want to go deep on it, like I felt like Blade and electroNic, when they were calling, there was more movement on the map, more things are happening at the same time. For VP, they've even actually kind of like really switched it up, and now they have some fast execs out of spawn practically, which like basically Blade does not seem to want to run those ever. Like maybe on Anubis, sure, it's like the only map you'll want to just do an A exec or something like that, but most other maps, they just don't go for as many just hard execs. They want to play with misdirection, they want to play with timings, they want to try to like, they even spread out so many people in different places. Like one goes, like on Mirage, for example, it'll be like 2 go con, but then one's kind of like lurking somewhere else. One's coming from ramp, one's coming from palace. And then I feel like Jame would rather have a pack in his teams in terms of like 3 guys doing something together, for example. And so I just feel like when they're trying to combine styles here, like I this is what I would tell VP. I would say electroNic, just we saw you try to impose your style onto Cloud9. Just kindly shut the fuck up. Just listen to Jame and let it go. Let it run for 3 more months, 5 more months, And then you can really, if things aren't working, if you guys aren't making a semifinals or a grand finals appearance or anything like that, you can start to impose your style. But Jame has a hallmark. At this point, he should just be trademarking his style. And it has proven that it can find really weird wins. And with a good string of wins in a row, you can win any tournament in the world. Like, let that happen, because as it stands, electroNic, there are holes in your knowledge of what Blade because you were unable to transpose that knowledge to what Cloud9 was trying to do. So I don't actually have the most faith that you're going to be able to tell everybody with enough depth on VP, this is how we need to play the game, and we need to follow this style and actually win because of it. Like, just let Jame cook for a few more months, and then after that, we can talk about this, because on paper, I wanted to see this team have the same amount of runway that a team like Liquid did. Okay, this is a less ambitious project than Liquid was. All you need to do is fit into the system, electroNic, play to it, find your strengths within it, and you're a versatile player. Like, you've played for such a long time now as both an opener and a closer from his time from Flipside to Na'Vi to Cloud9. You should be able to adapt your game to it as opposed to making this entire roster adapt to you.
I also don't feel like Jame will be the type of person that let electroNic IGL. Sure, he could do it for a month, let's say, and then randomly he would be like, you know, actually I have better ideas, you know, actually I want to run it this way, and it's going to cause problems. I've seen that time and time and time again, where you had the past IGL and then you have a new IGL. It's okay, you do it, and then the new IGL is feeling kind of like, fuck, you know, this guy, you know, maybe doesn't trust my calls, and then this guy's thinking in the back of his head like, I could have called better, you know. So I feel like that could be a problem with the whole Jame electroNic thing, where it's just going to cause problems.
Unfortunately, I was just thinking up a totally inappropriate joke where basically, technically, another thing that has happened in VP room is they just let Dastan, the coach, go. So maybe the move is Jame just becomes the coach eventually. So then my inappropriate joke was, he was like, right, lads, has everyone jerked off before the game? Fame, you're just not jerking off enough, mate. 120 an hour, like a week, 2 weeks before the... Whatever.
Rookie numbers.
I know, exactly.
Pump those up.
You get the point anyway, whatever. And then obviously he gets like, you know, fucking Edward Cleland to come in like, oh, you having problems with your wrist? Yeah, put this like a band round, like, give it free. And then ice it beforehand, like.
Well, okay. Actually, I want to say this also. Like, when that whole like hit to reputation thing. I'm going back really far in the podcast, but I have to say this. Like Mindbody Esports, after that whole retreat that Liquid did, is getting the most random flame. I need to set the record straight. I don't think that you should do a retreat at the beginning, but also I will say that I have learned that was not entirely his idea to do it beforehand. Like, he was just fulfilling an obligation that higher management may have wanted from Liquid, so that because they want, it's almost like they wanted to see, hey, we signed you, let's see some instant results from it. It's like, that's not when you really would want the retreat anyways. Like, I don't really understand, like, you don't need, because technically he said 3 days on Twitter, but in the VOD itself, Twist said 4 days. So either way, like half a week of that right before RMR season, it's like just do the retreat like after the major or something like after you've achieved stuff, earn the retreat. That's my opinion on it.
I swear these retreats, these like psychologists, I swear to God, they do not work for CS players or CS teams. Like, I had so many times in teams where we had psychologists or team bonding or stuff like that, and it just doesn't help CS players at all. One point, I remember a funny story where we were a psychologist in OG. We're talking, right, all these ideas, you know how psychologists have all these ideas, different ways to approach the game, your mentality. And then Valde says out of nowhere, come on, you're either good at the game or you're not.
I love it.
That's, you know?
Imagine how nonplussed this psychologist...
And then the psychologist just like, bro, my whole career down the drain. You know? It's like, good at the game or you're not, you know?
The thing is, Valde, it's kind of like my whole job for that not to be true, so I'm going to go with no. Like, I love that. And I also just love, because that's just Valde. He's just a really honest person, and it's just how he is. So.
Yeah, it's just honest. It's so realistic, you know? I know. If you're not good at the game, then don't play the game, you know? That's it. There's nothing you can do. He literally said there's nothing you can do psychologically, mentally, to improve your game. You're either good or you're not, you know? So.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.